Hello and welcome to this short video where I'll be showcasing how Tableau Next, powered by Data 360 and Agentforce, helps unlock trusted and contextual insights everywhere. And in this short video, I'll be mainly focusing on property managers and general managers in hotel or service departments scenarios. And the idea is to showcase how we can create this agentic analytics that elevates that experience and unlock those sort of insights everywhere. Now, before I go into the demo, a little bit of a disclaimer that the data presented in this demo is entirely fictional and has been created solely for demonstration purposes. It does not reflect any real individuals or companies or actual business performances, so any resemblance to real data is purely coincidental. Now, with that, I'm going to walk through a sort of a GM sort of a look or GM POV, General Manager POV. And in here, what I'm going to showcase is how using Tableau Next, again, powered by our Data 360 as well as Agentforce, you're able to get these proactive alerts automatically delivered to your mobile devices, for example, delivered to your Slack, or even sent to you in an email. And as you can see here, quickly I can see that I got notified about my occupancy rate, that there is a bit of a decline. And the beauty about our Tableau Next is the second that I click on it, it goes onto my mobile device and it automatically gives me a quick view real time on what's driving or what's happening with this metric with occupancy rate. But the beauty about this as well is I can leverage agents or Agentforce in this scenario, and I can simply ask a follow-up question. And the intention of asking a follow-up question is, as a GM, I want to be able to interact. I want to be able to converse with my agent, and not just converse with my agent, but I want to ensure that whatever I'm asking my agent, the response that I'm getting is a trusted and relevant to my business. So it has to be contextual as well. So in this scenario, if you look at what I'm asking to do a little bit more drill down onto why the occupancy rate is declining. And you can see here, it automatically generates this sort of insight. It tells me, around, for example, different segments like city businesses and city leisures, but also room types. And of course, if I expand the sources, I can see that we have a metric that has been defined, which is around the occupancy rate percentages. But also, you'll notice as part of the experience, it kind of like recommends the GM to what else can I do? So I can go and analyze the luxury segment occupancy trend. Maybe I can also create an alert for a specific room type if that performance dropped. Or maybe I can show occupancy patterns by a specific date. So if I go and let's say analyze luxury segment occupancy, so I'm now focusing only on the segment and I'm looking at luxury segment. You'll notice again my agent leveraging the semantic layer within our data 360, no matter what that data, where that data is coming from. And remember, there's a lot of different strategy to ingest that data. So there could be real-time data. We don't even need to move that data to our data 360, or it could be, of course, a batch. But the beauty about my Agentforce in here is the response is going to be contextual and it's going to be trusted. So I can see the analysis of the luxury segment over the last 90 days. It indicates a decrease of 9.8%. And additionally, there is room types such as deluxe and executives were significantly contributors to this trend. Now, again, the whole experience for a GM, as I said, is I can look at my metric right from within my mobile device, but also I can access my Tableau Next Hub. This is where I can have all my different metrics available for me with all the summaries, and I can browse my different insights or my different metrics. So for instance, let's say I want to focus on negative feedback percentages. Now, the second that I'm looking at my negative feedback, you notice, and by the way, this is all out of the box, so I don't really need to do drag and drops. All I'm doing is I'm harmonizing the data on my data 360, and I create the semantic layer where I define the metric and the scenario negative feedback, and it automatically generates these sort of insights, whether it's a trend comparison or period comparisons. I can see period versus period or period versus period prior year. But I have also the ability to segment the data across different dimensions. So for instance, I can look at primary topic and I can go see which of these topics have the highest negative feedback. And of course, I can see what are some of those top contributors. And the beauty about the mobile device is, of course, I can go and expand that. It natively connects to Slack, so I can go and automatically collaborate with all my property managers, but I can also copy that. I can send it an email, so on, so forth. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fast forward, and I'm going to go and say, let's say I've alerted a property manager about a specific trend on the occupancy percentages. What would the property manager view look like? Now in here again, this is the property manager view. We call it property portfolio command center. You'll notice straight away, if I look on the top right corner, I can create these sort of alerts. And just as a GM gets that alert proactively pushed to the mobile device, as we've seen earlier, I can also push it onto my desktop in here, right? So again, I can have the same sort of experience right from within my desktop. Now, as a property manager, the first thing that you see here is a single pane of glass where all the information, whether it's coming from my property management systems, whether it's coming from my in-house operations applications, feedback applications, it doesn't matter where the data is coming from, right? With Data 360, I can ingest that data, I can harmonize it, and I can generate all the different metrics that matters to me as a property manager. So I can have things like occupancy rate percentages. I can have my revenue per available room. I can have the average a daily rate, for example. And of course, I can have negative feedback percentages all into a single pane of glass. Now, of course, the idea in here as a property manager is I want to have some sort of a performance indication. So I can see at my portfolio inside, I can look at occupancy rate and NPS forecasted over a 12-month. I can look at it by region and segment. But most importantly, I have now the ability to create a best practice or a benchmark capability to look at all my different properties and understand which properties are doing better than the others, right? So if you look at it, the top right quadrant, this is where we have a high NPS and high RevPAR, revenue per available room. And this is what we call a best practice property, right? Whereas in the bottom left quadrant, these are the properties that are a bit challenging. Now, the beauty about TableNext in this scenario is every time I engage, so in this scenario, I'm looking at a hotel in Melbourne, you notice on the left-hand side how all the metrics updates on the fly. So this is where we are passing the context to each and every metric that matters to me as a property manager. So for example, if I look at my RevPAR, I can see now I'm looking at Melbourne across all the time, and this is what's the revenue per available room, for example. But let's overlay the guest feedback and the service recovery. This is where we're bringing in-house operation, for example, and as well as feedback. And I want to try to drill down and understand what's making this property in Melbourne in this scenario to be underperforming, not to be as what we call a best practice, which is the top right quadrant. And in here, of course, I can automatically analyze all the different feedback channels, whether they're coming from in-state chats or mobile app, and I can look at all the different topic. Remember, within Data 360, I have the ability to bring in all that unstructured data and generate insights of it. And this is where we are able to view that. Now, in this scenario, I can see clearly here, check-in weight and housekeeping. These are the kind of like primary topics where the feedback has been a bit more negative than the average. Now notice as I select a check-in weight on the fly, I can see here, and let me just zoom in here quickly. I can see the negative feedback. I've already passed that context onto this metric, and I can of course see all the different information that I need. But most importantly, let's go and drill down onto the top insights. Now, as I drill down onto the top insights, and you notice the power in here is it's all happening because I can harmonize that data. I can unify all that information that is coming from my in-house operation systems, all my feedback application through my Data 360. And I can quickly see all the different information, like how many maintenance tickets has been created, for example, what's the percentage of VIP guests, and also recommended next action. And on top of that, the beauty about our Data 360 and Tableau Next is it's all about actionability. So automatically I can see here, this is the list of guests, VIP guests that I need to follow up with based on the recommended next action. Right from within here, I can kick a action. I can take a flow. So this is a workflow. In my scenario, I might go and say, great, what I'm going to do, I know these are the guests that I need to follow up with. So let me go and assign them to a specific agent. And then I kick on the sort of process. And this is how we not just generate real-time, trusted, and contextual insights, but we also make sure that it's actionable. Now, what if I'm in here and I don't really understand? Maybe like I might be new to this sort of application, or maybe I want to ask a specific question, right? So for example, I want to understand how do I prioritize, or maybe who are the guests that I need to prioritize? So for that, I can now again leverage my Agentforce, which is by clicking on the top right corner, I can now have my Agentforce Analytics, which is also known as Concierge. And right within here, I can now ask who are the guests that I need to prioritize. And I'm going to zoom in here, so in that way we are able to see the response better. And this is all happening because of the fact that I'm leveraging Tableau semantics or semantic layer that is part of our Data 360. So as we ingest all these sort of data points, whether it's a PMS, whether it's an in-house operation systems or feedback application, again, we don't really need to bring that data to the Data 360. We have a zero copy strategy. As I bring that and harmonize it, and now I'm conversing with my agent, I can rest assured that all the information that I'm going to have is relevant and contextual to what I'm asking. So you'll see in here, it's telling me there are 10 VIP guests, and these are where they're from, with a high upsell, or what's the upsell propensity that they have. But again, if I wanted to, you'll see here as I expand the sources, I can see that it's coming from my Guest 360 SDM semantic model. But of course, you can converse with it, right? So I can go and say, what about guests with negative sentiment? There you go. And of course, mispronounced it. So again, the idea in here is it's a conversational aspect. So I don't really need to, it's not just about like searching or indexing the data. I'm fully conversing with my agent, leveraging natural language in here. And I'm saying, I understand that these are the VIP guests that have a high upsell propensity, but I want to look at guests with negative feedback. So now straight away, I can see here, these are the guests that have negative feedbacks, and I can see all the different guests and where do they come from as well. Now, last bit, let's see if I want to drill down onto an individual guest. So I'm going to go in here and let's say, can you analyze, guest 2175? And I want to have a complete 360 view. And again, I'm going to zoom in so that way we can see the response a little bit more clearer. But this is again where you're able to ask any sort of questions and converse with your agent, and your agent will be able to respond with context and with an accurate, trusted data as well. So now I'm looking at an individual customer or an individual guest, apologies, and I can in here have a complete view about that guest. I can see, what are their, what do they normally travel for, or what's the purpose of travel? So this is business travel. They're from Canada. They've stayed with us for 3 stays in total. I have predictions built into my Data 360, so I can look at the 12-month customer lifetime value. I can also look at churn risk, and most importantly, I can also look at what are the next best offers. So, I can propose an airport transfer as an add-on, or offer lounge access, so on and so forth. And that's the sort of experience that you can go and get, and that's what we call an agentic analytics.